Behold.
Greetings once again, Keyblade Warriors, and welcome back to the finale of the countdown portion of Kingdom Hearts month, where joining me today, oddly enough, is another person that just passed his Mark of Mastery exams. Everyone give it up for Master Unicorn PyreX.
What is going on, cinnamon rolls? It is Uni.
And for this countdown, I figured since Kingdom Hearts 3 might be around the corner, I don't know, it's still August, so who really knows? We're gonna go over our own thing of our own personal top 5 choices of what could have been in Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, of course, the obvious things for the rules are no repeat worlds, so no Agrabah, no Atlantica, and sorry, Pirates of the Caribbean, no you with the Kraken world. That would have been amazing.
As much as I love Pirates of the Caribbean, that world just really irritated me. I did not like it at all.
That's fair. That's fair. Anyway, on to the countdown.
I want you for a lifetime. So if you're gonna be mine, baby, I don't wanna know, baby. I don't wanna know.
Coming at number 5, my choice, for just nostalgia's sake, would be a world dedicated to the Aristocats.
That's an interesting choice.
I know, I kind of figured it'd be interesting because for some odd reason, Aristocats is kind of underrated as a potential world for anything involving an action-packed thing in Disney. I mean, sure, the plot is very simple. Lost cats trying to find their way home because of an evil butler, once trying to drown them, and then trying to send them to Timbuktu where they're going to be devoured by bigger cats because, you know, psychopathic butler wants money. But I kind of figured it would work for Kingdom Hearts because Edgar has like a very dark heart that could summon very potentially powerful Heartless that could be enlisted to do something for the new organization ran by Xehanort. From that standpoint, they could then have a very intricate way of introducing rhythm type challenges with the jazz themes along with interesting combat, where it could be Sora being a small little alley cat, Donald being a goose, and Goofy being an actual dog, each having their own unique way of trying to traverse through the way of the whole entire countryside and then battling through Paris with flow motion controls against very unique looking Heartless, to then having a pretty unique battle not only against Edgar, but maybe having it segue to them fighting maybe Vanitas and young Xehanort, trying to then snatch away Sora to go to Master Xehanort as like a small idea. It seemed like an interesting premise to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging it now that you've explained it a little bit. Yeah, I could see it.
But I only put it number 5 because as much as I would love that idea, Square probably wouldn't find it a pretty powerful thing as like, oh, well, if you're gonna be fighting as fucking cats and gooses and dogs, no one's gonna buy that shit. Now, if you excuse me, we gotta draw Goofy look like fucking Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, I did that shit.
So, my number 5 is it's a little out there, because my choice has no clear enemy. I mainly picked this as like a side quest nostalgia type world, but my top 5 was Finding Nemo.
Really?
Yeah, mainly because as like a 90s kid, that movie was very nostalgic for me. And I mean, I went to go try and see it in the theaters twice, and each time they were sold out. like could not see it in theaters. I had to wait for it to come out on DVD.
Holy shit.
And so, I mean, with Finding Nemo, it was mainly a lot of like fetch quest. If I were to convert that into like a gaming world, Finding Nemo would be a fetch quest. So I can't really see it being like a solid, oh, you have to go here and fight this enemy, you know, but it would be more of like a side quest nostalgia world, I guess.
Still better than Atlantic, a singing world.
True.
I want you for a lifetime. So if you're gonna be mine, baby, I don't wanna know, baby. I don't wanna know.
Coming at number 4 for myself, I'm gonna go a little bit underground. Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
I could see it. I could definitely see that.
I mean, an underrated gem, just like another thing that might be Uni's choice that I won't say. Atlantis has a lot of elements that could be in a Kingdom Hearts world. You have mysticism from the Atlanteans with the whole glowing crystal made from living beings chosen by the gods. You have intricate monsters like the giant Leviathan lobster thing. Seriously, why can no one remember that the Leviathan is a serpent? You have a pretty unique story to where they could mesh together maybe in between the first movie to the made-for-TV thing that was going to be the TV show pilot. It could have been a good mesh to just be like maybe Rourke's ghost was trying to take the heart of Atlantis again to prove to Maleficent that he could have a corporeal form again, and then it becomes like a huge battle fest to not only fight a possessed Leviathan and then try to save Kira and the crystal that holds all of society together. Many ideas could come to play with this, as well as an interesting Keyblade I was thinking of that had like maybe holding together at like the base of it was a crystal in the middle, sort of like a small little trinket for them.
Yeah, I could see it. To be honest, I don't remember much of Atlantis.
That's where I see it being the biggest problem as my number 4 pick. I mean, sure, Aristocats is like a nostalgia thing that our grandparents knew, but for Atlantis, I don't think any of us could ever remember Atlantis long enough to have the attention span, but would have more enjoyment factor from it, as well as having more design choices, at least to be fair.
See, I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 97. So Atlantis was kind of, I think I was probably 6, 7 when that movie came out. So it was like, it was kind of something that I tried to watch, but because the attention span needed for it, I only caught like bits and pieces because I wanted to play with my Zoids.
That's fair.
But I mean, I could see it. I could definitely see it. My number 4, and you're probably gonna hate me, and I'm sure I'm making a lot of people groan from this.
Oh,
my
groan,
number
Uni.
4 is Frozen. Disney's Frozen. And I am being completely and utterly serious about this.
I can just imagine the salt now.
But I have... Oh, I'm sorry, Biggs. I just smacked my cat with my headphones. I have my reasons for this, though.
Tell us the reasons, Uni. Tell us the reasons.
Okay, one, and this is kind of where I'm getting this, but the Keyblade that I imagined for Frozen. So, with the Keyblade, you have the blade, and then you have, like, the little chain with the counterweights on it, right?
Right.
Well, picture a Keyblade made of ice, shaped like a snowflake, right?
Uh-huh.
And then on the counterweight, it's little, like, you know how on the original Keyblade you have Mickey's head on the bottom of it?
Yeah.
Kind of in that style, but for Anna, Kristoff, and Sven. And maybe one for Olaf, like on the very, very end.
Okay, I could see that design. I could see it.
But also, I mean, I could see Hans becoming a Heartless. Because if you think about it, he did try to kill also, like, literally behead her. So, you gotta have some dark crap inside you to be able to go and behead another human being. And I don't know. I could see Elsa becoming like a Heartless, or becoming a Heartless that eventually gets saved. But that's kind of my idea of it.
I could see it though. It makes sense. It makes sense.
That's why I said, like, it's an overrated, overplayed movie, but as far as like the magic elements go, it's right up Kingdom Hearts alley. And I was like, yes, Queen, this needs to be done. Like, but I have a feeling that that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, at least not until Kingdom Hearts 4, maybe.
Yeah, let's get to 3 first, Benny.
I want you for a lifetime. So if you're gonna think twice, baby, I don't wanna know, baby. I don't wanna know.
Coming in at number 3, from my whole camp of weird bag of tricks, I'm thinking Disney's Robin Hood.
Are we talking the 1974 classic?
I'm talking about when they were foxes and bears and whatnot.
That was my number 3.
Oh my god, me. Okay, you say why you think it's number 3 and I'll say why I feel it's number 3. Let's do this.
To winning! I picked it for number 3 because although it wasn't from my childhood, my mama raised a boy with taste, and this was one of the movies that I watched a lot. It really defined for me, weird for them being animals, but it really defined me, like, what being a hero is, what being a friend is, and a gentleman. And, it's kind of a staple for my childhood. And for a movie of its time, it certainly had a lot of action. And so I could see, I don't really know how a Keyblade would work. I definitely could see it as a world in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so we have Uni's whole elated side. Me, I'm kind of like the whole story man, so I think for myself I saw it as like a decent, sort of like what 100 Acre Wood has been for like the longest time in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Like, it'd be something where Sora would stop in to just be interactive with the story to do as a mini-game segment sort of stuff, like thing of using the gun segments that we've seen in all the trailer stuff to try to best the Sheriff of Nottingham in an archery/gun battle, doing something like a chase segment with trying to save Maid Marian. Those sort of stuff to just give it like a small little wholesome touch of just the world for Sora to just interact with someone to learn what it means to be a gentleman, and even have some nice little flashback or dream sequences of what he and Kairi could do, since that's like everyone's OTP, instead of focusing on the real one of Roxas and Nominate. Why won't you do that, Square? Why the fuck won't you do that? Just do it already. It's already in your face. Just fucking do it already.
Well, I see it. Well, I didn't even think of the minigame portion because honestly, I try to avoid those like the plague. I am not a fan of mini games in Kingdom Hearts. I think they just bore me, but that's my personal opinion. I could definitely see it being a mini game world, but also Kingdom Hearts has a lot to do with like friendship, and later on down the road you have that whole come on everybody, I need all my friends, raise your arms up for the spirit bomb kind of thing. And so I could see it as being like a place that's kind of like you said, like you go, you kind of visit, you interact, but I could also see it kind of being like, if you ever need a friend, later on, we got your back.
Like
kind of
like a D-Link type.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yes, but oh my god.
Oh my god.
I don't know how to feel about that game.
I want you for a lifetime. So if you're gonna think twice, baby, I don't wanna know, baby. I don't wanna know.
Coming at number 2, let's go to the world of Fox for a minute, and let's see, maybe for just this small itty bitty type thing, an X-Men world.
Huh.
Like everyone's probably on my case about like, what about the whole Avengers? What about something to do with The Simpsons? What about Bob's
No.
Burgers? What about Family Guy? And I'm like, what the fuck about Family Guy?
Okay, no. Simpsons and Family Guy and those kind of shows do not fit in my opinion, they don't fit in Kingdom Hearts.
No, they
At
don't.
all.
They really fucking don't. However, X-Men has a range to do so, seeing as how there's both the 90s animation, as well as the very popular ones made by Hugh Jackman and all those people. There are many different ways they could do this whole story, because there are many different stories with X-Men they could have involved with the Kingdom Hearts world. Like maybe, just maybe, they have the Dark Phoenix just teaming up with someone to have like Nobody's Unversed and Heartless trying to steal the hearts of all the mutants to try and form Kingdom Hearts for Master Xehanort. Why? I'm not entirely sure, because that's the one key factor I'm still forgetting. But it would allow Sora, Goofy, and Donald to team up with the likes of Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, Cyclops, Professor X, a lot of different people, even the Brotherhood of Evil, to just actually fight against a powerful foe that would probably be the next to last boss in all of Kingdom Hearts that could match up to the Master Xehanort and the entire Organization 13 members in a way that would blow everyone's mind about how they could do a fight of Sora versus one of the greatest fictional psychics in history.
I could see it. I could definitely see an X-Men world. Although, I don't know about Wolverine though, because Wolverine tends to be a little over the top vulgar. So I could see that being an issue as far as like,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
but I could see it though. But here's the question. Would this world give you a Keyblade, and what would it look like?
I think it would be a very Chrome-esque one with claw marks as the key blade portion, and then the handle bit would try to resemble that of maybe having the X insignia bonding it together with maybe like a circular hold with the grip inside, and then the key brand itself would maybe for some odd reason be a fusion of both the X-Men logo and the Brotherhood of Evil logo as the keychain.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. My thoughts on that are like, if Wolverine is gonna be like, obviously Wolverine's personality and his sailor mouth would obviously be an issue with that. But what if, like, you said that you have like Wolverine's claws for the blade, and what if it just kind of resembled Wolverine in it of himself? So like you've got X-Men, and then like the Keyblade just looks like Wolverine, basically. So you have the claw, the triple claws as like the blade, and then the handle has his like yellowish black suit or whatever.
Right.
And then I do agree with you on the Brotherhood weights on the bottom. That would be pretty lit in my opinion.
But I see issues why this could not be like a world to be picked just yet. Maybe when they make a rated T version Kingdom Hearts game later down the line, but not for anything E or E10.
Yeah, no. Alright. So my number 2 is The Incredibles.
Oh my god.
Primarily the Jack Keyblade.
Yo. Yeah.
I feel like that would be lit.
That would definitely be lit.
We'll start with the villain. Obviously, you have what's his face, orange hair.
Syndrome.
Thank you. You've got him, and I feel like he would be a Heartless, or at least turning into a Heartless or something along those lines.
Because everyone turns.
And pretty much. And you get to be a Heartless, and you get to be a Heartless. Everybody gets to be a Heartless. Thank you, Oprah. So you've got your villain, and you've got your Incredibles family, which you've got Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Elastic, you've got Invisigirl, and you've got Dash, right? And then So their powers are kind of, they're solid. You know what their powers are. My favorite and why I feel like it would be a good Keyblade is Jack Jack because his powers are not defined. His powers are really
Everything.
flexible. Yeah. So I feel like because I know that in some of the Kingdom Hearts games that I've played, the Keyblades are upgradable.
True.
So Jack Jack pretty much embodies, all four of the Incredibles family.
And then some.
So what if you had like branches of which way to upgrade this Keyblade? So like if you choose this path, then it will have something to do with Violet. Or if you go down this path, it'll be like his father or his mother or his brother. You know what I mean? And then you have that one I want to have something that you have to like really work for. And I remember in the originals, Jack Jack turned into like this demon looking thing.
Yeah, that was weird.
So like what if you had that like hard to get evolution of the Keyblade where it's like it explores that territory a little bit?
I gotta admit that's a pretty lit idea. That's a pretty lit idea.
And I mean, like, you've got the standard, I mean, it would have, an interesting. I would like to see the key blade, like the blade portion, look
Mm-hmm.
like an eye. So you've got the long shaft, and then you've got the, like, ball on the end of it, so it looks like an eye for Incredibles. And then the color scheme is like the red and black on the hilt
Ooh.
with in the middle by like, or if you're gonna have, yeah, so you've got the blue and or the red and black color scheme with like the eye as like the finger guard, and then for the chain you've got each one of their like the three. I don't know, I can't really say how I see the like counterweights on the back. I don't know how that would work out. Probably the moment where Mr. Incredibles went solo and he had that like blue and black suit, I could see that being on the counterweight.
Ah.
Like a silhouette of his blue and black suit.
That is indeed an interesting thought there, Uni. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm sorry it was so long winded.
It wasn't long-winded. It wasn't long-winded at all. But before we get into the number one choices from both of us, guys, let's go over the honorable mentions of worlds that, although have an interesting premise, would definitely still have problems today. For me, first honorable mention has to go to Lady and the Tramp because Atlantica's revisiting Kingdom Hearts 2 is really undersold and pretty much destroyed the romantic value about what to do for a world. Sorry, not sorry.
I didn't have any honorable mentions.
It
I
it,
didn't.
it could be any world off the top of your head.
Honestly, I would have to go with Brave. Pixar's Brave.
I could see the problems with that too.
There's just a lot of problems with that I really like don't think we have to go into with that one. Although it would be very interesting to see, I feel like it would be way too much work for Square to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Another honorable mention for myself would have to go to 101 Dalmatians, mostly because although it would be nice to revisit Pongo and Purdy ever since the first game,
Yeah.
evidently doing the thing with Cruella de Vil would just seem kind of cheap.
Yeah, I could see it. Um my I would have to say Wally would be an honorable mention for sure.
Poor Wally. We know you try
Um
so hard, but
it, there's a lot there, but there's not much there, if that makes sense.
it's like a barren wasteland, but also with plenty of stuff. I could see what you mean.
The only interesting thing that I could possibly see going on is maybe fighting the Portal 2 looking knockoff robot and maybe like a fetch quest or two. But like other than that, I can't really see Wally having anything of value.
Yeah. And my final honorable mention, I will have to give regrettably, and I do say regrettably because a lot of people were dying for this one for some reason. How to phrase this? I would have to give it up for the Rescuers being an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Not that we don't love The Rescuers. It's a fantastic film. You all should watch it. It's a pretty good classic Disney film. But honestly, between that one and The Great Mouse Detective, there are just many factors between those two films that would prove very problematic due to the fact that we've already had shrinking levels before thanks to Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella
Yeah.
with Ventus and Birth by Sleep and so many other stories. So
Yeah, the whole shrinking thing is just it's gotten old, people. It's gotten old.
yeah.
My last honorable mention, the brave little toaster.
Ooh. Ooh.
Not a lot of people know about that really. It's weird because it was before my time, but it was kind of like the Rugrats where it like started before I was born but ended up being my childhood. And like it's a cute little story, but that's pretty much all it is. If anything, it would be more of like an interactive world, like Winnie the Pooh. Other than that, there is not much there. Sorry, guys.
Sad but true. But at least they're honorable mentions for a reason, guys. So maybe they can come up with ideas that we can't really think of.
I would like to hear some people's reasonings for why they should be in there. I feel like that would be interesting to hear.
Alright, we are now reaching number one, but before we go into my whole number one choice, Uni, since you passed your mark of mastery first, why don't you go over to your number one choice?
Y'all are probably gonna hate me for this too, but you know what? Haterade, people. Shades on, blocking the haters. Zootopia is my number one pick.
Honestly, I'm not hating that. I could see it.
There's just a lot that you could do with Zootopia. It's so diverse. Like each like zone in Zootopia could just be its own world. Like this could be a whole nother world, and each territory in Zootopia could be its own sub world. There is just so much going on with it. And I don't yeah, I can't even speak. Like the fact that you could do so much with it just is why I picked it. I don't know. You could do a lot with Nick and Judy and the little lamb and Lionheart. Like you could do I could see Lionheart becoming a heartless unintentionally, because in the film he was just trying to do what he thought was right. And I could see him accidentally becoming a heartless and being tricked by what's her face, the little irritating assistant mayor, Bella. There we go.
Again, I could see it. It makes perfect sense.
And the Keyblade, I'm trying to figure out how like the Keyblade would look. And I'm thinking the blade is a bunny ear, right? For
Right.
Judy. And then the handle is finger guards on the outside is Nick's shirt,
Oh.
with the handle being his tie.
Ooh.
You can't be taken seriously swinging around a bunny ear with a collared shirt on, but come on, that'd be sick.
That would be sick, but lest we forget, we've had crazier looking swords.
Okay, and the best part, the counterweight is the carrot.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, because of his nickname for Judy.
Yes.
Carrots.
But that is my number one pick. What is yours?
My number one pick, we're gonna go back into the darkest days of Disney, Uni. Are you prepared?
I'd say I was born ready, but I was born premature. Let's go.
My number one pick is the Black Cauldron, oddly enough.
Ooh, I heard that was getting a remake.
I hope so, because I've thought about this for years since they've said Kingdom Hearts 3 was in development. I've really thought about this from top to bottom, and I've even taken notes upon all the stuff that could have happened thanks to all the trailer stuff that we've gotten up to this point. And even now, I see this being a world that can work. Firstly, the story, with the Horn King himself being one of the darkest, most malevolent spirits that has ever graced Disney's presence since Count Frollo and Maleficent herself. He can just ooze being the very person that gave Maleficent her powers to rule over the Heartless and everything else, to even teach certain people how to handle the sort of stuff that Master Xehanort has learned over his many years trying to study Heartless. That being like a giant cornucopia of like Sora fighting even stronger versions of dark sides, or even a multitude, gigantic fusion of multiple dark sides to become a Chernobog type Heartless.
Yes,
With
I could see it.
With that whole malevolent force to it, you can even go a little bit darker to show Sora what the darkness can really do when used the wrong way, as well as showing him what could happen if he gave too deeply into the darkness that could make him into one of the vessels of Xehanort. That giving into a giant duality process where the longer they're in the world, they end up eventually having Sora succumb and then fight his own shadow self to resume control and even form a new, more powerful limit form inside of himself, making him even stronger through the process.
Yes.
As well as for the final boss, basically make the Horn King himself become the greatest upon greatest of villains, wielding not only several Heartless to try and distract you from fighting his main body, but also using the Cauldron itself as the main source of how to defeat him.
Yes.
While even trying to prevent Gerby from committing the practical suicide that he does in the movies, but will eventually happen anyway, which will weaken the Horn King himself, yada yada yada.
I could see it.
That being probably the most darkest avenue and also the most powerful avenue that Kingdom Hearts could do. As for the Keyblade, that's pretty easy. Keychain obviously is going to be the Black Cauldron itself, but the blade portion from just the shaft itself would just be the sword that our young hero lost before, but also stemming out some small little curved up tree branches to just give off that eerie feel, sort of like having a new Keyblade from Halloween Town sort of effect, with the handle being made from the witches that encounter our young hero and Gerby himself, with his paw, with like a strand of his arm, like a furry type grip inside of the whole barrier portion of the blade.
I could see it.
It's definitely been the number one world I've thought about for years upon everything. Not revisiting Agrabah for the wedding of Jasmine and Aladdin, not going back to Olympus like they do every fucking time in Kingdom Hearts history. Just this one movie alone cementing everything I would want to see in a Kingdom Hearts game that could honestly sell more of an idealism to just bring you to figuring out why this is such a big deal for Sora's journey, why this is such a big thing about why these worlds shape Sora to be the Keyblade Master that he is.
Yeah, that's true. You bring up that, and all I could think of is The Labyrinth, starring David Bowie.
If only I could do something like that, but I don't want to bring up David Bowie without crying.
I know, I'm sorry, but It would just make such a good Kingdom Hearts world. Ugh!
But in any case, guys, that is all of the worlds that we thought about right now. But if you guys have any other ideas for worlds and why those would work, let us know in the comments below, because, you know, Kingdom Hearts month is basically us celebrating something that by the time this is all finished and edited, we hopefully now have news about when it's going to be released. And hopefully maybe one or two of our suggestions have made it into the main game itself. Maybe Zootopia.
Hopefully Zootopia.
Or Frozen.
Ooh, I feel like that would make people salty.
Oh,
But
I know
we'll
it would.
see.
And it would be glorious.
Yes, it would.
In any case, though, guys, thank you all for sitting through my final countdown, and thank you, Unni, for joining me, where I think after this video, you guys are getting one more what if from the whole Kingdom Hearts thing, but this time, instead of the previous two what ifs of what if Max was in Kingdom Hearts, the whole lore, or what if Aqua was possessed by Xehanort instead, this final what if is a little bit more on the whimsical side. But I will see all of you lovely little nomads, party people, strangers, and Keyblade warriors next time.
Bye, guys.
Let me tell you a story.